Oh, wow. Hello, ladies. Hello. It is Anita Stoudmire with Better Love Movement. And I decided that I would go live tonight and record this week's podcast episode. So, this week on the podcast, I had a request through my Instagram Live to create this episode or this video. And it's all about how to let a man know that you desire him while you are abstaining. Good evening, Turquoise. So I just wanted to go live tonight, see if I could get anyone on here to join me. And we're going to talk a little bit about this subject because a lot of the ladies that I am coaching, that I am working with, they are abstaining. They are not having sex until they're in a committed relationship, or they're not having sex until they're married. And I think that is amazing. However, I also have a group of male friends who say to me, well, Anita, if that woman is not having sex with the man, she's not interested in him. She doesn't want him. And I disagree. I disagree. I believe there are ways that we as women who are abstaining, we can show a man that we very much desire him without having sex with him. Right? I think in this modern day world, and I've got my notes ready, we put a little too much emphasis on sex. We think that that is the only way to show someone that we like them. Okay, so I disagree. I disagree. All right, so what are we talking about tonight? We're talking about the difference between sensuality. I'm sorry, you all, my nose is twitching. I don't know what it is when I get on live. For some reason, my nose starts itching. But we're going to talk about the difference between sensuality and sexuality. Those are two very different things, right? And in this world that we live in now, this modern day world, people do not know the difference. They think sensuality and sexuality is the same thing, and it's not. It is not. Okay. So I wanted to look up the definition of both of these words because I myself was like, okay, let me get the Webster's Dictionary definition. So, under sensual, when we think about sensual, it says relating to or involving gratification of the senses and physical, especially sexual pleasure, right? So, that's one of the ways that we could describe sensual, that we are going to ignite the senses. Now, this says especially sexual pleasure, but I don't necessarily believe that. I mean, we can be sensual without being sexual. Okay. Um, let's see. And then it gave us some similar words like fleshly, hedonistic. Interesting. Um, carnal, bodily. It gave us some similar words to sensual. Okay. And then it gave us the Latin word was sensus or sensualis was one of them. Okay. So sensual, sensory. Okay. Sexual, it says relating to the instincts, physiological processes and activities connected with physical attraction or intimate physical contact between individuals. She had felt the thrill of a sexual attraction. So again, carnal, erotic. That's the word that I would use when I'm thinking about sexual, is I would think about the word erotic. Right. And that's very different to me than sensual. A person can be sensual without being sexual. And then it says relating to the two sexes or to gender. It talked about biology. And then the Latin word was sexus or sexualus. Okay, those are the Latin roots for sexual. Okay, how do we define intimacy in a hypersexualized world? Because here's the truth, ladies, we really want to become more intimate with the men in our lives. We really want to develop a level of intimacy, and intimacy is not sex. We oftentimes use that word to describe sex, but it really isn't. I always put the word sexual intimacy in front of the word intimacy. I never just say intimacy and use that meaning sex. No, I say sexual intimacy, but the word intimacy is a deep knowing of another person and allowing that person to deeply know us. But I looked up a really interesting article and it talked about here are 7 key factors for developing intimacy with a person. So, trust, we must trust that person. Acceptance, honesty, compassion, safety. I like that one. Affection and communication. Now, here's something that's interesting to know about intimacy. So, if we're thinking about those 7 key factors, those are things that develop over time. And so while we want to be right now in this modern day world, people want you to believe that, oh, you can meet someone and within hours you can go off and have sex with them. I don't consider that intimacy. I consider that sex because chances are I don't even know this person well enough to trust them. I don't, I may not necessarily feel safe with them. I may not feel that we have any healthy communication. Like most of these 7 key factors are not there within hours of knowing a person. Like, let's be honest. And so, no, there really is no true intimacy between me and that person. There is just carnality, there is eroticism, there is a level of sexual attraction that says, sure, there's a chemical reaction, our bodies like each other. That's what's really happening. But what I want you to develop with a man is intimacy. And I want you to think about these 7 key factors. So, again, trust, acceptance, honesty, compassion, safety. That's a big one for my feminine energy women, affection, and communication. So, all of these factors will foster closeness or intimacy in a relationship with a man. Okay, so those are the things I want you to focus on. I want you to focus on so physical intimacy, which is like touch, right? There are ways in which you can express your desire for a man through touch. And that touch does not have to end in sexual intercourse. So, if I hug a man, if I put my hand on his shoulder, if I massage his shoulders, if I, hold his hand, if I touch his leg while he's driving, those are all ways that I can develop an intimacy with him. Okay. So I want you to use touch, but I want you to use it in a way that is not going all the way, right? We can touch a man, we can hug him, we can hold his hand, we can massage him. Those are all ways in which we can express desire that we have for him and we're not having sexual intercourse with him. So physical intimacy is super important. And again, I want you to use physical intimacy when you feel ready, right? So I don't want you to ever feel like you have to rush in for a hug or a kiss or a touch when you're not ready. You're going to build up to physical intimacy. I like to start by a touch on the arm or on the shoulder. That to me feels safe. I don't normally hug or kiss on the first date, but I have no problem touching a man on his arm, like in jest. Oh, you're so hysterical. Oh my gosh, that's so funny. Or touching his, I don't mind doing that. And I like to build on that. Okay. So, what we're looking for here is the slow burn. This is something that modern day people know nothing about, which is taking your time, building on the intimacy to the physical intimacy, the emotional intimacy, the spiritual or intellectual intimacy. Like, we're going to explore all these levels of intimacy. And in my mind, sexual intimacy is the last level. Okay. So we're going to move on to the next one, which is emotional intimacy. Okay. This is an intentional growing, an understanding and enjoyment about what makes your partner tick. This includes a heartfelt connectedness due to shared experiences. So, emotional intimacy could be one of you is having a really hard day and you're talking about that. Maybe you're talking about something really hard from your past. That would build emotional intimacy. Um, but talking about things that relate to your family of origin, maybe your children, maybe your pets, but that sort of intimacy, that emotional intimacy, to me is, oh, that is deep closeness that is, in my opinion, more than just two bodies coming together having sex. There's something very connected in emotional intimacy. So that's one level of intimacy, again, that I want you to practice. And this is how a man knows that you are truly interested in him. Listening, that's a skill, ladies, that a lot of women need to work on, is really listening to a man, really remaining quiet. One of the things that I personally struggle with is not interrupting. And I've really had to work on that in the last couple of years, is really working on not interrupting when a man is speaking, or if there are pauses. Like if he pauses, a lot of times men, they don't process as quickly as we do. So we have to let him pause without jumping in and adding, what we think. We just have to let that pause happen. And, oh, I'm sorry, were you done? And then, oh yeah, I was, I'm done. And then you can speak, but making sure that you're giving him plenty of time to express himself, that builds emotional intimacy. There are so many men in the world that have never truly been listened to. Like, it's a skill, and it's something that a lot of men crave, because most women, as we all know clinically, women love words. We speak 20,000 words a day to a man 7,000 words. And so just building up the ability to listen, to really listen and ask questions. There are so many men out there that never experience that from a woman. And so that is a form of emotional intimacy. That's a way to really send the message to a man that I am interested in you. I really like you. I like what you're talking about. I am so interested in this story about work or this story about your dog. Most men don't get that. So that is huge, ladies. Okay. So we talked about physical intimacy, physical touch. Um, a lot of people, again, we're building on that physical intimacy. So it will start off slow and light, and we will build to hugs, full body hugs. We may do side hugs at first, or we may do, a touch on the arm, a touch on the shoulder, and we're going to build. We're going to slowly build. So one of the ways that I may slowly build on physical intimacy is, again, the touch on the arm, a touch on the hand, a touch on the shoulder, and then I may let my touch linger a little longer. I may give what I call the church hug. I may give a more full body hug. I let that build. I let that build with each and every instance that we are together. I just don't go straight in for the hug or the kiss or what have you. And I don't let a man do it to me. But yes, physical intimacy is huge. Most men, their love language is physical touch. That's one of their love languages. So, physical intimacy. We talked about emotional intimacy. Let's move on to spiritual intimacy. For those of my ladies who are Christians, who are women of faith, there is a spiritual intimacy that we don't talk about enough. And that is speaking to each other on spiritual matters, talking about your faith and the Bible and prayer, praying together. Oh, there is nothing more intimate in my mind than a man and I praying together. That just does something to me. A man who says, "May I pray over our food? May I pray?" Oh, that does it for me, ladies. So spiritual intimacy, attending church together, things of that nature, talking about things of a spiritual nature. That is something that's a way that you can express your desire, your interest in a man, is that, yes, if you are a person of faith, I'd love to hear your thoughts about that. I'd love to hear your thoughts about a certain scripture. I'd love for you to pray over our food. Spiritual intimacy is huge. All right. The next one, which is one of my personal favorites, is intellectual intimacy. Okay. So I had to look up the word sapiosexual because people have been using this word to describe me. And it is people who are turned on by intellect, people who are turned on through their mind. And that is most definitely me. So learning about and discussing mutual topics of interest together. Okay. Connecting intellectually. So it's having conversations that are deeper than gossip or reality television. Like, it's deeper than that. It's talking about ideas and concepts and, different topics and coming at those topics from different angles. And, oh, really? Well, why do you think that? Why do you say that? Those are the conversations. I'm sorry, y'all. I keep hitting my mic. Those are the conversations that really light my fire. Like if I can have conversations like that with a man over an extended period of time, that says a lot. That tells me a lot about that man and about the potential connection that we could have, because there are some men that I have tried to have intellectual conversations with. I've tried to have conversations about, ideas or concepts or topics, and they just fall flat. And so I know for me, that's something that I most definitely need is a level of intellectual intimacy. We need to be able to talk about a topic or a subject for hours. That is what does it for me. That is what makes me feel truly close to a person. And so I want you to try this. I want you to try starting conversations or topics, especially topics that interest him, and really, dive deep, go into all the ins and outs of that topic, and listening when he's talking, but also having healthy rebuttals, having things to say about that topic. That is a surefire way to get a man's attention, that he's also a sapiosexual, right? He's turned on by intellect. He's thinking to himself, wow, this woman, man, I haven't had a conversation like this in a long time. Like, this has been a really wonderful conversation. This person and I, we had a respectful conversation, but she brought up a lot of things that I'd never even thought about. I feel heard, all of that. Okay. So that's the intellectual intimacy that I want you to utilize when you are expressing your desire for a man. You want to really know him. You want to know his mind and the way his mind works in and out. Okay. All right. So there was another article that I am going to link to down in the notes. It is the 12 ways to be intimate with your partner without having sex. That article is by Madison Epting. I want you to check out that article because, ladies, yes, there are many, many ways that you can develop a close, intimate relationship with a man without having sexual intercourse. That's a thing. And honestly, I believe that's a healthy way to go about it. What I'm seeing happening now in the modern day culture is people are completely skipping that step of developing these other forms of intimacy. They're skipping straight to sexual intimacy. And here's the thing I'm going to tell you about sexual intimacy: it will fool you. It will make you think you're closer than you are. It will make you think you're compatible. It will make you think you are more connected than you really are. And trust, when so the novelty of the sex, the newness of the sex, oh man, you're like, oh my god, this is my soulmate. Once that wears off, once that starts to become like, okay, this is sex, just like any other sex, that's when you're going to start to really get to know that person. That's when you're going to see maybe you're not as compatible as you thought you were. Maybe there is no real intimacy here. So what did we talk about? We talked about the seven key factors. Oh, there's no trust. There's no acceptance. There's no honesty. There's no compassion. There's no safety. There's no affection, and there's no healthy communication. See, though, that's when those things are going to start to come up, that, oh, these things are missing because there's no real and true intimacy between you and that person. So, yes, I want you to do things the right way. Sexual intimacy is the final piece of the puzzle. I am always telling women, you having sex with a man, that is the reward for the relationship or the marriage. That is the final step. That's the final puzzle piece. It is not at the beginning, it's at the end. So we're not going to reward a man with sex that we just met. Like we don't know anything about him. There's no real intimacy, there's no genuine trust or safety with him. Like we need all of those boxes to be ticked before we can now be sexually intimate. And can I be honest with you? Soulmate sex, intimate sex, sex that is, with a man that I really know and love and trust, that is the best sex. It really, really is. So I don't even think that, one night stands and, sex with strangers, I don't consider that good sex. I just don't. I don't care how chemically attracted I am to a man. It's awkward. It's, yeah, there's a part of it that's very animalistic or carnal, but honestly, you all, I can't even be the freaky person I want to be with a man I don't know. Like that is reserved for my husband. That's what that is reserved for. I just can't. I can't completely relax. I can't completely, be the sexually expressive woman I want to be if I'm not married to that man, if I'm not in love with that man. Like he's just not going to get the best of me. So yes, if you are choosing to abstain, yes, I want you to develop other forms of intimacy with that man, not just, oh, our bodies are chemically responding to each other. Okay, because again, that's all well and good and fun for the first, I don't know, month, 2 months, especially now, especially in this modern day world. It doesn't even last 3 months. 3 months is the typical honeymoon period. There are people now that they don't even make it to the third month because now, oh, well, it's now just sex. It's just, oh, okay, it was fun the first few times. And then after a month or two, yeah, I figured out it's just sex. It is nothing new that I haven't had before. But yes, this person's body's new, their smell is new, everything about them is new. And so the novelty of it is hot. It's all hot and heavy until it wears off. And then you realize you got a regular person just like you're a regular person. So please let this build. There are ways that you can express your interest in a man without having sex with him. And the key, in my opinion, is developing intimacy. That's how you're going to do it. You're going to use your eyes, you're going to use your smile, you're going to use your touch, you are going to respond in flirty ways to his text or his call. There are lots of ways to let a man know, oh, for sure, I would love, for us to be physically intimate. However, I don't feel comfortable doing that until I am in a committed relationship or until I am exclusive with a man. I just don't feel comfortable having casual sex. That's what you're going to tell him. And that should be the truth. That should be the truth, that I just don't feel comfortable, having casual sex because I don't feel safe. There's not a level of trust. Um, I just don't feel comfortable. So be prepared to show the value that you bring to a man in other ways other than sex. Women in 2022, they are being programmed to believe that sex is their value. Their body is their value or their sex is their value and it's not. There's so many other ways you bring value to a man other than your body. And so, I want you to dig deep and figure out what all those ways are because it is not just having sex with him. And again, there are lots of vaginas out there the last I checked. And so if not yours, he could get somebody else's. What's the difference? What makes you different? What else is it that you bring to a situation, to a man that is not just sex? So, okay. Um you can show a man that you are a woman without showing off everything that you have. I'm always telling you ladies that I want you to be modest. That is super important. So, for instance, if I am wearing a strapless top or I'm wearing a like a halter top, I may show shoulder. So I may show shoulder, and if I'm showing shoulder or if I'm showing a neckline, I usually have the bottom part of me covered. So I always tell ladies, you can show a little top, cover up the bottom, or if I have a skirt that's above my knee, okay, I'm showing a little bottom, I'm showing my legs, a little more of my leg, and I'm covering up my top. I am never showing a whole lot of skin. So I'm never showing short skirt, top, strapless top. That's just way too much skin. I am never wearing something that is cut so deeply. I am never wearing something see through. I am never wearing something that's skin tight. Like I leave something to the man's imagination. Okay. Leave something to his imagination. And here's another really interesting tip. This came out of one of Sherry Argov's books that I read, where she talked about how when you get to the point where you're inviting the man over, you can get to the point maybe 3, 4, 5 months down the line. He's coming over, maybe he's coming over for dinner, or you all are watching a movie. There are little flirty ways that you can get a man's imagination going without showing anything. So this was a interesting tip that she gave. She said that you could have like a basket of lingerie. You could have a basket of laundry, like lingerie. So it could be a bra, it could be a panty set, but maybe you have a basket of laundry and you're like, oh, I've got to put this basket of laundry up in my room. I've got to take this to my room. But he is seeing in the basket there is lingerie. There's frilly panties or bras. Even that little thing will make a man's imagination run wild. And you haven't shown him anything other than a panty or a bra. That's it. So trust me when I tell you, a man's imagination will run wild. Like it does not take much. But those are little ways that you could, be flirty, be a little flirty with him. Oh, I didn't realize I left, my under things in this basket. I've got to take this up to my room. And he's just like, okay, that's what's underneath those clothes. Like even little flirty things like that will make all the difference. So I like that little flirty tip. Okay. So remember to think sensual over sexual. So you can appeal to the other senses that he has. We know men are visual, so definitely appeal to his eyes. I want you to look great. I want you to have very attractive makeup. Don't overdo it. Do not overdo it with the makeup, but a natural looking makeup, right? Natural looking lips, or if you want to wear red lipstick, that's been clinically proven to do something to men, red lipstick. Again, if you're showing a little skin on the top, then you're going to cover the bottom. Leave something to the imagination. The scent of a woman. That is one of my that's one of the things that I am very mindful of is my scent. And here's a little trick that I've often told ladies. If I start dating a man and I have on a specific scent, I make sure to continue to wear that scent around that man. That has the ability to kind of hook him, right? So now every time he smells that scent, he's thinking of me every single time. So I don't usually veer away from that scent. If I was wearing a scent when I met him or went on the first date, I make sure that I wear that same scent every time I'm with that man. That's a way to create an anchor. It's like an anchor or of a memory with you from that scent. So every time he smells that scent, he's like, "Ooh, Anita," that's what he's going to think. So think of a person's five senses. So sight, sound, taste, touch, and smell. Okay. We are not going to worry about taste because he's not getting any taste just yet. But we're going to think about your voice. We're going to think about your smell. We're going to think about your touch, right? The way you look. We're going to focus on those scents and we're going to develop a sensuality around that, like those senses. Okay. That's what we're going to focus on. All right. But we're not giving any free taste. All right. All right. You can flirt with them. Modern day women really suck at flirting. They don't know how to let a man know that they find him attractive and that they desire him. But they do it in a way, again, we're talking about the slow burn, right? We don't have to give him everything on the first night. We can do a light touch of his arm. We can look him in his eyes. We can lick our lips when we look him in his eyes. We can do the little flirty, hand on lip, hand in mouth, and the eyes. Like these are all the things you can do for a period of time that's leading up to, okay, you know, y- I like the finger on the lip because I'm drawing his attention to my lip. And in his mind, he's thinking, I would love to kiss those lips. I'm like, I bite the finger or bring my finger to my lips. And it is simply just letting his mind, letting his imagination go there. Right. And there's been no kissing, but just me bringing my finger to my mouth or to my lips is drawing attention to that. And now we're not kissing, but he is imagining what that would be like. So these are little flirty things that you can do. Touching him, giving him a hug, kissing him when you're ready. And guess what, ladies? This is how I start the kiss. So the kiss is always started with a kiss on the cheek, and it's usually right back here. A kiss on the ear. I've done that where I've hugged a man and kissed him on his cheek, kissed him on his ear, and I work up to kissing him on his mouth. Okay. So it's never a first date, go in for the kiss, go in for the hug or the grope. No. All these things are happening in levels and it is the slow burn. That's what we're after. And even if you get into a situation, and this has happened to me where, okay, we're 2 or 3 or 4 months into dating, and the kisses happen, the goodnight kisses happen, some touching has happened, and man, that kiss is good. We can always say, "Oh, this kiss is amazing," or "Oh my gosh, oh, I almost got swept away. I almost got swept away there." And of course, he's going to want you to get swept away. He's going to think, well, just go ahead. I mean, why are you holding back? Oh, no, 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 no. It is far too soon. And, I don't feel comfortable doing anything like this outside of being exclusive with a man or outside of being in a committed relationship with a man. Oh, you are so tempting. Like, I have no problem telling a man, yes, I would love to go further. However, this is something that has to wait until I'm in an exclusive relationship. It has to wait until we're committed. It has to wait until I'm married. But I just I must say it is tempting, right? And these are the things that I tell men and let them know, yes, I find them attractive. Yes, I would love for things to go further. However, I have made the commitment to myself that I am not going to have casual sex. I am going to feel safe. I'm going to feel secure. I want to feel loved. I need to feel loved by the man that I am with. See, these are the things that you can tell him to stop yourself, to pull back just in the nick of time to let him know, oh, this is so tempting. However, I wouldn't feel comfortable going all the way or, you know, being sexually intimate unless I'm in an exclusive relationship. Don't ever feel bad about saying that. Like, you can imply that, yes, if I was that girl, which I'm not, this would be amazing. I believe this would be amazing. However, it's not something I would feel good about unless I'm exclusive or committed or married. Okay. So you've got to have healthy boundaries around abstaining. One of the boundaries that I often tell my ladies that I want them to erect is no alcohol on dates. Because can we be honest? I'm gonna be honest with y'all. So when I was a drinker, and I was a very social drinker, but I'm gonna be honest, when I had a few drinks, yes, I got in the mood. Okay. I got in the mood. If I had two drinks, then it was on. And so I just erected a rule that unless I was in a, committed relationship or married, I did not drink. I saved that for going out with my girlfriends. I saved that for, you know, maybe a party at my home. And I just, I did not do that on dates because yes, it did. It got me in a mood. It got me in a mood like, I might lower this wall a little bit. So, ladies, if you are not exclusive and committed, if you are not married, I want you to abstain from drinking also because you all know, and I was honest, but I know some of you all know how you get when you're drinking. So no alcohol on dates, especially on the first several dates, no alcohol. I'm also going to encourage you to avoid dates at your home. You all already know how I feel about that. Until you have vetted a man properly, he should not have access to your home and you should not go to his home. So we're not going to have any dates in his home or in our home where things can get comfortable, where we can go to the couch and oh, take off your shoes and this and that. That we're headed down a slippery slope with that one. So we're going to have our dates out in public. We're going to have our dates maybe within a group with other people. We're going to have our dates out. Okay. So we don't get tempted to get sexually intimate too soon, too fast. All right. I want to read to you some lyrics from some songs that I found. One of them is an old classic that I absolutely love. It is by Janet Jackson. It's called Let's Wait a While. Okay. And so I can't remember what year this song came out in, but this is definitely from my generation. But she's basically telling the young man that she's dating that she wants to take it slow. She says, when we get to know each other and we're both feeling much stronger, then let's try to talk it over. Let's wait a while longer. Okay. So I want you to Google Janet Jackson, Let's Wait a While. I want you to listen to that song and the lyrics in that song. Okay. So she wants love. She wants honesty in that song. She wants to know that this man is her man and that they love each other and that they're going to pace their relationship. So I absolutely love Janet Jackson. Let's Wait a While. I want you to Google that. The other song is by Chrisette Michelle. That's hard to say. It's called If I Had My Way. And this is another amazing song, but it's all about you are the man that I want more than anything. However, we are going to wait to be sexually intimate with each other. So let me just read to you some of the lyrics. She says, you're who I desire. You light my fire. With every kiss, you take me higher. Feeling like love, you're loving, I just cannot resist. There's something that's making me hold on. There's no one I'd rather share my good loving with, but I promised I'd wait till I'm ready for this. One day we'll make love, passion unheard of. I'll be your woman if I have my way. We'll see heaven, loving together. We won't stop ever if I have my way. Okay? So she's talking about, yes, your touch, your kiss is turning me on. However, I need to find the strength for us to wait. I need to get up out of here before I do something I regret. But check out Chrisette Michelle. It's called If I Had My Way. That's another song that comes to mind when I'm thinking about us waiting and making sure we have something real. We have something really intimate, not sexually intimate, emotionally intimate, intellectually intimate, spiritually intimate, and physically just affectionate. Okay? We have to make sure we have something real before we go all the way. So, all right. I hope you enjoyed this special live episode of the podcast this week. Thank you so much for joining me. If you have not gotten a copy of my brand new book, it's written for ladies who are already dating someone or in relationships. It's called Do Well, A Feminine Woman's Guide to Relationship Success. Please head over to Amazon and check it out. If you are a single lady and you are interested in creating a blueprint for finding the best fit man for you, creating a healthy blueprint, knowing what questions to ask, what to look for, what is really important for me to know about finding a really great guy. I want you to check out my book, Choose Well, A Simple Formula to Determine the Best Man for You, available also on Amazon. So, thank you so much, ladies, for watching. If you're watching this on YouTube, and I know you are because we're live, please do me the biggest favor ever and subscribe to the channel. That is a free way, an easy way that you can support this channel and help me to continue to make free content for you. Thank you so much. As always, stay open to love.